Awesome to have you here. I appreciate you coming out. Jill, if you can.
I'm excited to be here.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Thank you. But here's the thing, too. We know you love coming here, too. That's the biggest part of it.
I do.
Jill, please tell us, before we even get into this, tell our viewers who exactly you are and what it is you do.
Well, Jill Renee Hill. I sell real estate. I have for 13 years. And I've had a lot happen in 13 years.
Yeah.
And I am just continue to sell real estate 24/7.
Mm-hmm. So 13 years in the business, what were you doing prior to that?
So prior to that, I was actually a nurse, which is really cool because you use a lot of the same communication skills and things like that from nursing to real estate. So I was a nurse, and then the day that I delivered my daughter, who's now 20 years old, I became a stay-at-home mom, and then I had a son 3 years after she was born, and until Grant went into preschool, I was a stay-at-home mom, and then I got into real estate for the great hours.
Yeah, right.
For the flexibility.
Right.
For the weekends.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it something you knew about before you went into it, or who called you and said, Jill, you got to be in real estate, or was it you saw something and said, I want that?
Well, what's interesting is my grandmother, who's now 95 years old, owned Ann Mills Realty in Wadsworth. So she was a broker, and she's been a broker since 1971, I believe.
Wow.
Which is really cool because I go to her house and she has these plaques on the wall for, $1 million producer. Well, back then in the 70s, $1 million producer, was like a $10 million producer now. So she worked her tail off. And I remember being a little girl and her always driving a Lincoln, and she was always arriving late to dinners on Sunday, or she wasn't there. I just remember her working constantly. And then my brother and my dad are also realtors. So, it's in my blood, I guess.
Yeah. Did you so when you were first starting out, did you have your grandmother as kind of like a mentor that kind of helped you through everything? Did you have mentors, or is it more of like, I'm just going to figure this out myself, make mistakes along the way?
I think, she was always there for me. And when I started in real estate, I started in the same brokerage that my dad and my brother were in, which was Howard Hanna. So, of course, I had them there. But I had terrific training. I had a terrific manager. And I knew what I had to do to be successful in the business from day one. I didn't want to do anything half-assed, because that's just not how you do anything, right?
Absolutely.
You give it your all. So I did have the perfect people around me. And my best friend started in real estate at the same time I did. So that was helpful as well.
Kind of a good accountability partner type, pushed you
For
into
sure.
it and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
So being a nurse, then going into real estate, being a nurse, I don't want to say, and don't take this in the wrong way, but you could there's half-assed nurses out there, there's half-assed realtors out there, there's half-assed mortgage bankers. But you show up as a nurse, you could be on your phone, you can, mess around in the back, you check in on your people, this and that. You're not really running a business. In real estate, you're under a broker, you report to somebody maybe, you're running a business. And you run a very well and successful business now with your marketing and everything. Did you understand what you were taking on when you first jumped into real estate, or did you gradually over the 13 years implement a lot of things into your business, or did you know up front, if I do this, I need to market, I need to cold call, I need to go do showings? Did you understand all that before you jumped into it?
I did. I absolutely did. I've always been an observer, and I have observed enough real estate in my life that I knew that all of those things were required. I never saw my grandmother take real estate lightly, or my brother or my dad. All I saw was hard work. So I wasn't surprised at what it takes. What I was surprised about was how obsessed I knew I did become with being successful. Like I said, I got into it because I thought, okay, flexibility in time.
Mm-hmm.
I can be there to get my kids on the bus. I can be there to get them off the bus. What I did not expect was the frenzy that had to happen to do those things, because I needed to be in different places at different times.
Yeah. So a lot of, I mean, would you say that's like a top quality of you having like that organizational skill, just being able to manage your time? Because I find myself, I mean, I'm sure you can attest to this too, is as you start to scale and get bigger, you know, your time commitments and everything are huge. So it's really just trying to find the minute details of your day. Like, all right, I have to be, and Hesh is really good at this as well as an example, but you know, he's like a robot. Like he does everything, you know, wake up at 3:30, do this at, you know, 4 o'clock. Is that something you had to adapt to? Or is that something you had when you were a stay-at-home mom, or?
I haven't adapted yet.
No.
I am the most disorganized person ever. I mean, it's
See, that's
chaos.
You're not type
Crazy.
A. Like, you're not type
That's
A.
crazy to me.
That's not you. Like, are you like the person where, like, in school you had the binders with the color coded?
I tried.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's just not you.
Every year
Yeah.
I started out that way. I mean,
So then what's your
shopping
approach?
was my
Yeah.
thing. They looked pretty and I was going to be better.
Yeah.
I really try to be organized. But what happens to me is I let the day run me. More than me running my day.
Sure. Yeah.
And if clients need us, you know how it is.
Yeah.
Especially in this market, if a buyer sends me a house that just hit the market in North Ridgeville and I'm here in Independence, I pretty much know that if I don't get out there and show it to him within 24 hours, we're not going to have a shot.
Yeah.
So I could have the best laid plans for tomorrow, but just because he saw a house and it's perfect for him, I've got to fit him in somewhere.
I gotcha.
So it's
Yeah.
So what would you say then are your top qualities? I mean, you're a high producer, right? Like I said in the very beginning, like you're very well known. What would you say your top qualities as a successful female real estate agent are?
I would think number one is the you have to be a survivor. And just that alone, what are the skills of a survivor?
Yeah.
Even if it's a survivor of any type, whether it is a, cancer diagnosis or a financial hardship or a divorce or being lost at sea. What are the characteristics of a survivor? I think number one is having that positive outlook. Okay,
Absolutely.
bad things happen. Stress happens, you feel it for a little while, and then you shake it off, and then you say, what do I need to do to overcome this or to reach this goal, and you move towards it. So you have to have a positive attitude. You have to almost shut out the world while you move forward with your goals. I think another attribute is you have to be confident. If you're not confident in what you're bringing to the table to your clients, they're going to see it. They're going to feel it.
Yeah.
Your energy is going to say everything. So you have to educate yourself about this industry enough to be confident. And I think another thing is you have to be okay with failure because you're not going to get the deal. You're not always going to get the deal. You're not always going to get the listing. And heaven forbid, your buyer may not end up in that house that we've worked 3 months to put them in because shit happens.
Yeah.
Things happen.
Yeah.
And when that happens, you have to be the strong person to help get them through that.
That's right.
They can't see us sweat.
Yeah.
You guys know that.
Oh yeah.
And that's why I love working with you, because our clients do not see us sweat. Even though we know what's going on in the background is pretty scary, you communicate what's going on.
Yeah.
And you're confident about what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And you're not afraid of giving the bad news either.
That's
Yeah.
very huge.
I think that's so important too, and I think what a lot of people neglect to kind of take initiative on when they're looking for their realtor or their lender is, like, it's almost becoming cliche. We talk about it a lot lately, right? With like Matt Luptak and everything, is you're shopping who it is you're working with, right? And because at the end of the day, like, it's pennies on the dollar over the long term of how long you're going to be in that home, if you can even predict that, to the point where we're all going to be competitive with anything. I mean, listen, there's 10 mortgage and realty companies you can go up and down Rockside Road or even Center Street in Menor and find all different ones with different fees and rates and costs and this and that. But having, just like you said there, the comfortability of working with somebody where you're just working with us, or you just have you, and yes, I'm going to pick up that phone and return the call in a timely manner.
Answer your phone.
That is
what
so,
a concept.
oh my gosh. Or not even the fact where you're calling into a line. It's like, oh, hey, by the way, I'm just the salesman. You can talk to my transaction coordinator now. And it's like, but they didn't build the relationship with me. You know, and I think that's sometimes a big thing that people overlook. So how do you convey that to your clients? Because I'm sure you've been shopped as a realtor before. We get shopped a lot
all the time.
You've been shopped. How do you sell yourself to clients?
I honestly don't try too hard. I just sit at the table and I'm extremely authentic about who I am. I do have a lot of time and energy and money spent in marketing as well. So I'm not going to the table with nothing. I'm going to the table with my marketing and with, with, I'm able to show them, what I've done for people and reviews and whatnot. But I'm just who I am. Now they know for 13 years I've worked completely on my own. So I'm the person on the phone constantly. I'm the person meeting the appraiser. I'm the person calling the other realtor. It's only been me. So the whole transaction coordinator thing, it's been something that I personally don't like it when I'm working with the other agent and we've put the deal together and then they say, hey, now you're going to talk to Susie Smith because she's the transaction coordinator. I'm like, wait a minute. You know the details of this deal, but I am learning. Because I'm finally with a brokerage that everything is perfect, that I'm able to start a team now. So I'm really, really learning about the formation of a team. That transaction coordinator is essential if you want to grow your business as a realtor.
To delegate.
So I really need to figure out how I can create my team to where that other agent doesn't have that sense of being dropped by handing. So I haven't figured that out yet, but I do understand what you're saying because there's little details that happen in negotiations that only we know about, or financial things. Currently we're doing a deal. The buyer is with Liberty and they're an FHA buyer and it's for a condo that's not FHA approved, but
spot approval.
You guys are doing all this awesome work to get it approved. And if that listing agent would have handed me off to a transaction coordinator or handled the Liberty loan officer off to a transaction coordinator, it wouldn't have gone well. So that's just something I need to figure out.
I like what you said earlier about just pretty much like the brand that you've built for yourself over 13 years. You always say like reputation in your brand. I think it's a lot easier if, I don't know you and, you're looking to purchase a home and you've seen my billboards or you've seen, my mailers, at your house or whatever, 100%. That it's like, you may not 100% know who I am, but, in the background, that's kind of in the back of your head, like, I know that name from somewhere. I know that name, and I think that's what you do really well is you market yourself. You have a good reputation, So you've built that over just by being authentic, being genuine, just showing up. Really.
And it's a, I like to say, and this is for realtors, loan officers, title reps, you name it. Really, any person with a career. You have to ask yourself, is it a hobby or a business? And I don't know about you, but I'm not financially set for this to be a hobby. I'm single. I've got 2 kids. There's no backup plan and there's no second income in my life. So there is no way in hell this is just a hobby. So it's a career. So, and in sales, your career is based on your reputation. Your reputation is your brand. And it is everything you do. Every single thing you do. Everything you do matters. Everything.
Yeah.
When you go to the grocery store, people look at you and think, she looks familiar. Oh my gosh, she was my grandmother's realtor.
Yeah.
I probably go beyond what I should, but what do I look like? What do I look like in the grocery store? Someone might recognize me. The biggest thing is, what am I putting on social media? I truly, truly feel that we have to be very cognizant of what we're putting on social media. I personally do not get involved in political banter.
You can't.
I want to, but I'm not going to do it.
Right.
It paints a picture, you know.
I'm not going to talk negatively, and this is something that I see in our industry that we need to stop. We need to stop talking negatively about our industry or other loan officers, realtors, appraisers. Trust me, putting that post out there that's complaining about the agent that used the old-time lockbox on their front door, or the agent that didn't lock up the house, what good is that serving? Because guess what? All of our buyers and sellers are on Facebook, and they're reading that, and guess what that makes them think? Realtors suck. They don't lock up houses.
Yeah.
They don't turn lights off. They do this, they do that. Loan officers, oh my gosh, that could happen to me if I buy a home.
Yeah.
I just think we have to be so cognizant of what we're putting out there and ask ourselves, okay, I want to complain. I want to put something negative out there. Who is it for? Is it making me feel better?
Yeah, right.
I think
It's that
I think
instant
that's it.
gratification.
I think it's making me feel
Go vent
better.
in private.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm just going to put it out on social media real
Yeah.
quick and see if anyone likes it. And it's instant gratification if I get a couple likes on it, you know?
Yeah.
Just to complaining just to complain.
I mean,
you
to
know?
me, I think it's a, hey, Chris, where are you? Let's meet at 111 and have a martini because I've had a day. Do that. You know, don't. I just think we have to be really careful because, you know, all of our clients and potential clients are looking us up on social
That's right.
media.
That's
They are
right.
Googling our names, and I am sorry, if they Googled my name and saw a bikini pic of me on vacation spinning a pole somewhere, which I've never done, but you know what I mean? If that's what they see,
Yeah.
are they
Thinking
going to
twice.
want me to list
Right.
the house?
100%.
I don't know.
Yeah, you have to look at what you're giving out. I had a coach in high school, my senior year, our football coach, Ben Malbasa. And he used to say that one of the biggest things that would help him get a judgment of a new player when he went in is how they spoke about the previous coach. If you
Wow.
were dogging that coach and talking about how bad they were and why they mistreated you and this and that, he knew right away when he left, that's how you were going to speak about him.
Yeah.
So it's almost like
So
I look
true.
at this too, where it's almost a character thing. Like if I'm that person, I'm a loan officer, and I'm putting out good content to my followers, and then all of a sudden here and there they see that I went to X, Y, and Z restaurant in, Lakewood, Ohio on Friday night with my significant other, and I go home and I write a very bad review. That's a character thing.
Yeah.
Like maybe your
100%.
review is 100% right. Maybe it is. But what are you putting out? Like, what are you showing in that? And I
Yeah.
think a lot of people get that misconstrued, or a lot of agents or a lot of people in business, when they put out like these soapbox things about like their complaints and this and that, it's like, dude, you're doing this to yourself. Like you're drawing
shooting
the
yourself
eyes
in
on
the
you
foot.
in a
Yeah.
negative way.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are. You're shooting yourself in the foot. It's like the double-edged sword. You know what I'm saying? Like you
Right.
think you're like getting it off your chest and like making a joke, but like the real person that's going to look at that, who could potentially bring you to higher success, they look at that because the Heshes, the Jills, the Pete and Pete's, right? The people of industry leaders, they're not out there writing negative reviews about companies. They'll say something right and correct and positive about a company, and they'll keep the negative banter or the corrective advice
Yeah.
that they could give to somebody behind
Yeah.
themselves. Or if they ask, hey, how can I better myself? Hey, glad you asked. Let's talk about this.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So I think a lot of people get that misconstrued with social media. It's like, you really got to watch what you're putting out there because a lot of people are seeing it.
That's what a lot of these talk about in like sales 101 is you don't talk bad about your competition. If I'm on the phone with a potential buyer and they're like, oh, I'm with so-and-so mortgage, and you're like, oh, so-and-so mortgage, they're this, they're that, they're, whatever. that potential buyer is going to think the same thing of you.
That's right.
So that's why you don't, if you're trying to beat the competition here, if someone's going with a different company, you don't bash them.
Mm-hmm.
You don't. Like, that's just sales 101.
100%. Jill, I want to get back to something you said about your organization. I don't think it's that you're disorganized. I think, not the day rules you said. In our industry, you have to be adaptable. Right, real estate in general. I don't care if you're on the banking side.
You're making me feel better.
Yeah, well, no, but seriously. So, I've been working on this thing because I sometimes feel you leave sometimes with this job you sound like, and like you're still replying to text and email, and you feel crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I think we all do, right? I know I'm not alone in this. I feel crazy sometimes. Like, I was just talking to Jill about this deal. Now I'm on the phone with, Denise Clegg over at Cleveland Home Title about this deal that's blowing up at the closing table.
Yeah.
And then I got to go call this agent over in Cincinnati, Ohio, and then this one down, and then I got a client referral at 3:00 from DeLand, Florida. You feel nuts, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I think it's just adaptability, right? And that's obviously something that a lot of us were thrown into, is being adaptive in the past year and a half, 2 years. Right, COVID. How was that for you last year, when a lot of people were maybe a little bit weary to go into homes or let people into their homes, or just business in itself was, a little weird? And you can even bring it into this year where I guess our housing crisis was inventory, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not an economic issue, but inventory.
Right.
You're adaptable, Jill, and that's what I think it is. How do you adapt, and how did you navigate the market last year, and how are you still navigating the market this year that's kind of still spilling over from the earlier part of 2021?
What was interesting about COVID is I had my freak out. I had my freak out about it for sure, because we all thought that the bottom was going to fall out.
Yep.
That the world was just going to stop, and people were going to stop, buying houses. I stayed extremely busy. I had a little bit of a lull, but I think because I did not stop working and I did not stop reaching out to my sphere and my clients, and I didn't stop showing houses. We abided by the health rules that they put in place. We wore masks. For my listings, I would say, turn on all the lights, open up all the closet doors, basically make it so the only thing they need to do is walk in the door and then just walk around the house. They're not going to touch anything. They're going to wear their masks. But no, I just continued to work, as did all of you, as did our buyers and our sellers. Now, the inventory, of course, was a really bad thing. So I focused my marketing and all of my energy on my marketing on my listings, but my energy on my buyers. Because you can't force people to sell. You can nudge them, but you can't force them.
Yeah,
So,
sure. Yep.
I work all over Northeast Ohio, and I didn't say no during that time to anything, which I rarely do anyway. But so business-wise, it did not slow down for COVID, but I was as worried as everyone else. I actually was kind of jealous of the people who stayed in their pajamas for a week.
Did you see like a lot of people during that time, like a lot of agents that were just like, in making kind of the excuse of, listen, it's COVID, I'm not doing this anymore. Like, I'm just gonna wait till the government reopens and everything. Did you? That was a big narrative.
God. So we're in an industry. I don't know if loan officers are like this, but real estate, anyone can get their license.
Yeah.
It's not hard. You don't need a degree. You don't need to be a certain age. You just take the classes and you pass the test, and boom, you find a broker and you can get your license. So not everyone is in this industry running a business. It's a hobby. It's a hobby to them.
Absolutely.
So a lot of those agents did put their pajamas on and kick their feet up and they relaxed. But I can tell you one thing, they were not the sole providers for their families.
Yeah.
They were the agents that were just selling a few homes a year. They
Part-time,
probably had a second income. There's a lot of hardworking agents in this industry that I have been blessed to know over 13 years. And the common thread in all of them is that they work their tails off, and they always have, and they still are to this day. Whether it's COVID, not COVID, low inventory, you name it. They're working their tails off. And I have yet to meet a successful realtor that doesn't truly work their tail off.
For sure. I mean, we always
Nothing's
people
easy.
talk a lot about like income inequality. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You look at real estate agents; it's huge income inequality. Like look at somebody who's busting their tail; they're making 6 figures beyond, 7 figures beyond. You could also look at the person like you said who's in their pajamas during COVID, who's making the excuses like I don't want to go out there. It's COVID, blah blah this, the government, blah blah that. And they're obviously below the poverty line,
Sure.
So there's a huge spectrum there, I think, which is awesome, but it's also scary. You know what I mean?
Well,
Because like you are running your own business. Like,
Yeah.
there's no guarantee that the bills are going to be paid next month.
Oh, you've no idea. I hoard my money when everything's good and commission checks are rolling in. I'm working my tail off. Everything's good. I hoard my money in a way that I should be paying bills or some agents would buy an investment property or whatever. I'm like a squirrel with nuts in the winter because I'm afraid, even after 13 years, I'm afraid that the bottom's going to fall out at some point and I'm going to need that money. So I'm still in that.
Well,
I just began mindset a little bit of.
Keeps you hungry though.
But
Yeah.
it's good to you always say like, hey, like I have a rule like 6 months of reserves, right? Like I have to have that in my account.
Feeling.
Like I have to make sure like I am investing, whether it's my mutual funds or in real estate. But at the same time, if I don't have a great month, I'm okay because I still have 6 months plus in my account that I know like,
Now,
hey,
wait a minute. You're not buying the boat? Or
no,
Yeah, right.
or the new
or the
clothes.
Ferrari?
No.
You won't find that with Chris and I.
No.
We're different for our age group.
Yeah.
I see a lot of
Yeah.
of younger and even older loan officers have a great year and they are blowing their money like you would not believe. Thanks to social media, we see all of this.
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, that's awesome that you kind of reel it in. I hope you have fun still. But you're
Fun to
reeling
us though.
it.
Fun to us though.
For sure.
Fun to me
You-
isn't going and getting a table down, on West 6 on a Friday night with my buddies. That's just not fun.
Yeah,
You know,
you
buying a
won't
boat
see us
isn't.
at the bar at 1 a.m. on a Saturday. No. So,
Now, some people may look at that and say, you're so young, the money's here now, like, why not go out and enjoy and spend it? And like, okay. I mean, that's one perspective. Like, I appreciate your perspective. I'll take it into consideration. But ultimately, at the end of the day, like, I'm going to guide my life according to what my values and beliefs are. And I'm going to accept in my life what it is I accept and allow in my life, what I value, right? Just as you are, and so is Chris or anybody in the room. I don't care if it's the production team or us speaking or the owner of this company, the building we're in, right? But at the end of the day, I think for us, what's different in Chris and I is we're forward thinkers. Now, at the end of the day, I'm not going to sit here and say, Jill, I have every single day planned out or every year for the next 10 to 15 years. I don't. I'm a very like, hey, shit, nobody could predict last year. Like, I'm just an up in the air kind of guy where I got to go with the flow and just kind of like let the universe like ebb and flow with itself and I'll go with it. Be like water, right? Bruce Lee says. But I think also too, Chris and I think like, hey, we're going to be the men of house one day, of a household. We got to run the house. Like,
I love
what are we going to
this.
do?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like like we're going to be in that position. And guess what? What we do now is going to help dictate what kind of position we're in at that time. So maybe going out and buying the boat is cool, but at the same time too, like we can go rent the boat for a couple $100. You know what I'm saying? Like,
There we go.
a boat's just an
That's
anchor,
what we can
man.
take
And you
away
need an
from
anchor
this.
for it,
Rent
you know?
the boat.
Yeah.
Don't buy the
Yeah,
boat.
yeah.
Not
Also,
yet.
too,
Not yet.
The biggest thing I speak with Hesh about a lot, or with him, I've spoken with him about this before. There's something in us, and it's very clear with Chris and I, and I think any top producer in any industry. I studied psychology at John Carroll in college, and though I guess I didn't directly follow going the clinical route, there was still something that stuck out to me a lot. And I figured, okay, you know what? If I'm going to try and get in and out of college as quick as I can, I'm going to study something I like. There was one thing that we studied my senior year in college. I forget the exact class. And it was, it was childhood development. And they talked about children where they did the study about delayed gratification. And it's, hey, you can have this marshmallow right now. Or I'm going to walk out of the room.
Yeah.
And when I come back, I don't know when I'm coming back, I'll give you 2. The
Ooh,
kids,
the marshmallow test.
Yes, the
Yeah.
marshmallow test. The kids who ate it right away were lower on the charts for delayed gratification. Those were the kids who were most likely getting into trouble. They were the
Right.
class clowns. They were acting out. They weren't up on their studies, moving far in business or in any
Right.
industry, right?
For sure.
Those who waited, who had the delayed gratification, were the ones that excelled in school. They excelled in business. They excelled in their career. They excelled later in life in their relationships, because there's that sense of, if Chris and I, if you make a X amount of dollar commission check, and I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm at the point now where it's like 65% of that net check, that's going away.
Yeah.
I'm not touching it. Why? Well, for something down the road. But Dominic, you're young now. You're 26. Go out and enjoy it. That's not the point. I'm looking at in the future, I can be on that boat at 45 that I then own outright, and I'm with my family, versus I'll put in that time now. It's the delayed gratification part of it. And I know that's something within you, Chris. If you can at all elaborate on that.
That's perfect.
No, absolutely. I mean, the way I think about it is, I would rather just save my money now. Like, yes, I could buy the nice shoes, I could buy a nicer car if I want to, but like, at the end of the day, if I buy a nicer car today, then in 5 years, I'm going to want an even nicer car. You know what I mean? And then after that, I'm going to want an even nicer car. Yep. Or it's the same thing like with, when you start off with a small house, well, you don't go right into the big house, because after a while, that big house is just, it's just your big house. You want a bigger house, because you're always wanting a little bit more. People don't know when enough is enough. And sometimes you just got to tell yourself, like, listen, I'm just not even going to go that route. I'm just going to stick with my payment. I'm making it so that I'm making $30,000 a year. You know what I mean? Like, I'm obviously not, but my expenses, I don't exceed that.
Yeah.
Very
So
smart.
Very
smart.
living we talked about what's that book? Richest Man in Babylon. You ever read Richest Man?
Great
We were
book,
talking
Joe.
about that.
Small.
One of the rules for building wealth was living under your means, right? Living within your means. So it's, putting away the majority of your paycheck, right? So that was just, one big rule that I think we've always followed, but it's just like seeing
It's good
that,
to see it,
seeing it, gives you that reiteration. It's good.
You two are going to be really wonderful men of the house one day.
Thank you, Joe. Appreciate
Hopefully.
that. Appreciate that. You said something, Chris, where it's like, then I just want more and more and more. And that's something I think you and I have been talking about a lot this week. It's just kind of candidly come up where it's like, and you even sent me that article today, like, when is enough, right? The billionaire who says, the guy who was bringing him around the party, and he said, how does it feel that the host of this party made more in one day? He was a hedge fund manager that made more in one day than you did on your New York Times best-selling book in 1 year. And he said, it's completely fine. He said, what do you mean it's fine? He goes, well, I have something that he doesn't. And he goes, what? And he goes, the feeling that I have enough for me.
Oh,
so it's all about standards, because
Powerful.
I mean, I agree, Chris.
Joseph Helner, Catch 22.
Super powerful.
Read that? Catch 22.
Yeah, I haven't, but I'm gonna now that you show me that. But that's powerful, because I find myself oftentimes in that rat race too, and I think it's specific to any person, right? And I want to get into that next. Is like why you're doing this, but I think it's, for anybody listening, or even for ourselves, a good reiteration to hear, like, this is your journey, right? Like, you may have aspirations to go out and be the next Jeff Bezos and own the next Amazon, whatever that industry leader is or whatever that business is, and that's completely fine. We need those people. But don't do it for the sake of yourself, right? And in anything in business with what you chase, I don't care if you're getting into real estate, if you're getting into mortgages, I don't care if you're opening up a damn ice cream shop and you want to be the next Dairy Queen, right? Because there's going to be one day. Yeah. Do it for the reasons that you're standing behind for yourself that are of value to you, and make sure that you have the correct balance in your life, right? And it's something that's important to you.
It goes back to, like, what's enough. Like, if I know that X is enough, right? X is enough for me. Everything else is a bonus.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So you don't have that fear.
So
you don't have that fear of missing out on things. You're like, all right, I've gotten to this point. I'm going to keep going because I want to. Yeah. Not because I have to. Yeah. If you switch your mindset like that, it's like, okay, we're good. Like, I feel good.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that? Or like, I mean, you've been doing this for a while, like, or is it just ambitious? Like, what is your mindset about that?
What's interesting is when I started in the business, I was married, and my ex-husband, his family owns a business, and it's almost like I've been surrounded by business owners my whole life. And so when I was married, I had there was a second income. Obviously, when I was married, when I started in real estate, I was married. There was a second income. So I knew that I wanted to contribute. I'm kind of old school in my thinking, and my daughter's gonna kill me because she's almost 21, and she's her her thinking of men and women is different than mine. So I'm kind of old school in the way of I was married and my husband was the income earner,
The provider.
and
Okay.
and I was of course working, but he was the main income earner. So even though I was killing it in real estate, I still made sure that I was being the wife and the mother and
Yeah. Running the house.
yeah, the dinners and the cleaning and you name it. So I had goals then. It was more than just paying for vacations, which someone really close to me said, you just want to do this for shoes and vacations when I became a realtor. And that was just like fire under my butt. I was like, I'll prove you wrong.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Right.
It wasn't my ex-husband thing. but so I had, my goals were one thing when I was married, but then when I divorced him in June of 2013, and we still get along. It was not a terrible divorce. I had a brain bleed like a month after the divorce.
Oh, geez.
So it was really, really scary. It just came out of nowhere, and I ended up having to have brain surgery, and the surgery took place like a month after the bleed. So I had 30 days basically to think that, oh my God, if it continues to bleed, I could die. The whole right side of my body, I couldn't walk well. I couldn't see out of my right eye. Like it was really, really scary for me to, number one, be divorced, and number two, have this fluke medical thing happen that could end my life, or the brain surgery, which was really, really risky, and it could only be done at the Cleveland Clinic, and I had 2 neurosurgeons doing it, and all of that. I didn't know how I was going to wake up. So you talk about changing your goals and changing your perspective. That was really, really a scary time for me. So real estate went to the wayside. Well, I shouldn't say that. For that month, I had people step in for me, and I was still able to work. But I just wanted to wake up from the surgery and feel my hands and my feet.
Your health.
Nothing else matters at that point.
Zeroed in. Right.
So I did, thank God. So I woke up and everything was awesome. And the next day, I'll never forget, the 2 neurosurgeons walked into the room and ICU and at the clinic, and I was sitting up on my computer getting back to my emails, and they were just blown away. They're like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And I said, you did what you said you were going to do. God guided you the whole way. I'm here for a reason, and I'm back to it. So that moment, everything shifted. At that point, what I wanted was to be successful enough to help my children, to help me, since I was now divorced, to help me financially. And now I'm looking at contentment. What do you think of the term contentment? To me, the older I get, the more I'm realizing that being content in your life is the true success. Being able to look around at your children and feel content.
Yes.
That they're doing well. That I've given them enough to be good people, and
that's right.
There's enough security there that they don't have to worry about certain things. Content in the circle of people that I have around me. Yes, because there was a lot of getting rid of toxic situations and a lot of that. So I want to be content in every single aspect of my life. Content in my faith, content in my relationships, content in my business.
Yes.
What do you think about that term, contentment? When you hear that, what do you think?
I'm always at a crossroads, I think, because I want to stay ambitious and, keep moving forward, right? Especially like where we're at right now, when you can, the amount of hours that you put into this job is a direct result of what you're going to get out of it. You know what I mean? Like if you put more hours in, by and far, you're going to end up doing well, but it's what you're missing out on. You know what I mean? So like
What's your sacrifice?
Yeah, what I'm saying, I coach wrestling, and I love doing that. I've been wrestling since I was in 2nd grade, right? And I love coaching, but coaching, that's not necessarily going to pay the bills. It's not really going to end up, elevating my business and as a loan officer and everything. But I love doing that. So I want to stay content, yes. But I'm at a crossroads where I'm like, I want to stay ambitious and keep working harder as a loan officer, but that's going to take time away from something that I love. So it really just depends. Or, or if I want to, if someone calls me on the phone, like Lovetak was saying the other day, like if it's a 9 o'clock call, yes, I should answer it, but at the same time, I'm watching a movie with my fiance, and I want to be able to spend time with her.
Can't wait. Right.
You know what I mean?
Put
like
things in their place,
exactly. Yeah. So it's something I'm definitely battling. That I'm still like trying to figure out like where is content and where do I need to be ambitious at.
And you two are still young enough,
right?
That's the response I would expect from both of you. That you're
well, I think
you're still on the road of maybe what is content for you.
I mean, it's easy because we don't have kids. We don't. Right. I know we've had conversations like we both want children and everything.
100%.
Like I have a dog, right? I mean, like at that point,
it's a
yes.
child.
It's a
yeah,
child.
you know what I mean?
Child.
But so there's energy that you have to give there. There's energy
Right.
I have to give to my fiance. There's energy that I have to give to my family. There's energy that I have to give to work.
That's
right.
right.
And there's only so much energy I can give throughout the day. It's like, where do I be ambitious and where do I stay content with? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So. But we don't have children, so it's like at the
Yeah.
same time, it's like I can put in the work right now, but what am I missing out on? At some points,
Yeah.
So it's
that's something.
it's a give and
again,
take for
that's,
sure.
And that's exactly it, right? It's a give and take to what's important to you and what you value, right? Because you'll only accept in your life the things that are going to align with what it is you value, right? Anything outside of it, at least unless you're crazy, you're not going to put up with it forever. Contentment to me, I love the question, Joe, like because it was something I battled with for a while, and I think I'm getting a good grasp on it. Even at 26, like I think people often get the word content misconstrued with you're cool with where you're at and you have no desire to go forward.
Complacent.
Very true.
Complacent.
Yeah.
Complacency, yes, and contentment. Content, I think, is even though in the moment maybe it's not sometimes. I think, you can have your anxieties and your, oh my God, I should be doing this. You look at social media and somebody at your age is even ahead or a little bit of, right? Like we have the Russell Pettys of us to look up to. I mean, Russell Petty is,
he's
both
phenomenal.
of us combined, he's amazing, right? So you look at that and you're like, oh my God, what the hell am I doing? But I think it's having contentment to me is having a peace within myself about where life has brought me so far and being okay with that. Because it was my specific journey, and it's special to me, and I'm here now, and everything that happened in the past was for a reason, and the only proof that I can give you for that is the fact that I'm sitting at this chair right now talking with you guys, and we have this crew around us, and I'm okay. That's it, and that's contentment for me is peace. I'm content with where I'm at in life. I'm content that I'm 26 and I'm at this point, and maybe I don't wake up every day and I love this job, right, and I don't want to come in, but I'm content with I'm at that point. Because this is just what it is. This is the experience versus the complacency of, I've done it. I'm 26. This is it. Then, okay, cool. Let's chalk it up. But that's also the battle too is like, how far do I want to go? Do I need to make $1 million in a year? Do I need it? You know what I'm saying? I think that's something that is also a battle too. So that leads to my next question for you. Like, what are you after? Are you chasing something, or what do you do this for?
Or your end goal, or do you have an end goal, or is it the day by day, like you were saying?
I don't think I have an end goal yet. I know, Sylvia and Mike and Corvaya are very good friends of mine, and they've created a phenomenal real estate team, and I have so much respect for them.
Yeah. And
Mike will always remind me that I'm working really, really hard. And he's like, Jill, someone else should be going and getting your signs and your lock boxes because I do everything myself. So I do have a goal of figuring out organizationally how I can maybe delegate some things so I can grow my business. And as it grows, I know what's going to happen. I'm going to have more free time. I've had lengthy conversations with Jamie Powers, Barbara Wilson, Incravia, Sylvia. Judy Crockett, I was talking to her the other day before she spoke on a panel. These women that I have looked up to so much in this industry, and they all at some point talk about the same thing, and it's when you grow to a certain level of success and you've delegated, now they have the time to do the things that they love to do.
Yeah.
Whether it's traveling or, tending to a garden or, I know Amy Hosewell. I'm sure
Absolutely.
she has something that she does, a hobby on the side that is her piece. So I'm going to get there.
Yeah.
I don't know yet.
That's
I
cool
don't
though.
know.
That's completely okay.
Yeah.
I don't think you have to know.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, like I guess I would kind of be devil's advocate and say like, is there an end goal? Like, we're all gonna go to the same place.
I don't
know.
know.
You know what I'm saying? So
People who know me really well would probably agree that my end goal is hopefully for George Clooney to get divorced and ask me to marry him, and then everything's good.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
But going back to the delegation, I think it's very true when you start scaling up, and we're not quite there yet. We'll be there
Getting
probably
there.
very soon.
Yeah.
But it's understanding what are my income producing habits? Like what is going to earn me the most money that I can do? Like I can spend time doing filing through documents or doing small tasks. You could delegate that out, and then income producing habit, marketing,
Staying on
or
the phone.
staying on the phones, meeting with real estate agents, going to
Yeah.
networking events, stuff that we need to be doing more of.
100%.
But we're not at that point yet, probably monetarily yet, to where we can hire somebody to do that yet.
Yeah, there's like a huge level of letting go. Talk to Hesh about a lot about this.
my
Like
gosh.
and I guess that would be my advice is I'm trying to, I need to spoon feed it to myself as well. As like, Jill, you got to let go a little bit.
Oh my gosh.
Because there's so many things you could focus on that you do so damn well.
I'm accused
Yeah.
of thinking that I can only do, like no one else can do
The
what
level-
I
yeah,
do.
Right.
Come
Right.
on. It's,
Right.
Of course, there's someone out there that can do the things that I'm doing
Yeah.
for my business and probably do them better.
Yeah.
I need
Right.
to believe that and act on it and
Yeah.
hire someone
Yeah.
to do some of the things that
That's
I
right.
spend hours
Yeah.
doing that I could be out getting more clients.
Yeah. And you think there's 100 different ways to tie a knot. At the end of the day, the shoelaces get tied. It
Yeah.
doesn't have to be your specific
I
way.
could-
But I'm with you too. But I think, and I believe this wholeheartedly, there is some deranged sense of control that every top producer has within them. It just is, and you have a struggle of letting go because you do think, and it's okay to acknowledge it. Let's be vulnerable here, right? That is within us, and we think that I can't let it go because it won't get done properly. Because I'm the best one to communicate it and to get it
Yep.
done and to label that document and review and this and that.
Yeah.
But there is if you train correctly and take that time up front and hire the right people and
Right.
surround yourself with the right people, like you kind of mentioned earlier, or we were talking about even
Yep.
with your son. I mean, even in business, surround yourself with people who are like-minded or have the same kind of go-get spirit.
Yeah.
You could really build a good team around
For
you that
sure.
allows you to elevate yourself and others, Jill.
I'm in process.
That's good though. That's good though. Hey, but you know what? After 13 years, this is where your journey's brought you.
I'm
You've
in
gone
process.
independent, right? The old proverb is like, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with someone.
Yes, and I
Yeah.
have to trust.
Trust, let go.
I got big trust issues. That's why I live on an island and
Yeah.
I've only got a few people on it.
It's okay,
so I
though.
have to trust.
Yeah, but
I
you
have to
you've
learn
seen
to trust.
You've seen a lot more experience of life. I mean, I feel like as we kind of grow in age too, you seclude yourself a little more because at the end of the day, you're just like, I mean, my dad even says, I feel like all people past like our parents' age, like past 40, are like, I just
Yeah.
want to go buy a house in the cabin and get away from everyone.
Yeah.
You know?
It's lonely
And
at the
this
top, they say,
business, this business will, the more you're in it, the more it's almost like we're people pleasers.
Yep.
And we
Very
take care
true.
of our clients so well. And it's not just a transaction. It's not just the loan process. During the loan process, things can happen in the buyer's life
Yeah.
that they involve you with. They say, oh my gosh, my daughter got into a car accident and I'm not able to get you that document. So boom, you're involved, you care. Like we're constantly tending to people, and it's wonderful. Like I think we're blessed to be a part of our clients' lives for this important event in their life.
Oh,
Buying a
100%.
home. They'll never ever forget it.
Yeah.
And So when someone then says, oh, on your day off, do you want to spend 3 hours with me at an Indians game? You start thinking, I'm tired.
Yeah.
I've been, with clients constantly
all week.
And what's your energy like for me to sit next to you for 3 hours?
Yeah.
You start thinking differently.
Am I gonna hear
It's crazy.
gossip? What
It's
kind of
crazy.
conversation?
Yeah. Are you a positive person?
Yeah.
Are you, it.
So what do you do to release? What's your free time look like, Jill?
So my free time is, my kids, number one. Since Lauren's a junior at college, Grant's a senior in high school, I know that my time with them is limited. Because I don't know where they're going to end up.
Yeah.
So big release is the three of us will often travel together. We try not to go to the same place twice, but it's getting hard because we like my kids want to go back to Washington to the San Juan Islands because we went there last year spring break and they loved it so much. And I'm thinking, I wanted to see someplace different.
Yeah.
So but we travel together because it's crazy because it seems like just the ride to the airport, I feel like the vacation started.
It's so much fun.
I
yeah.
look at those two faces and I'm like, you're mine.
All week.
You're mine for 4 days to a week, like breakfast, lunch, dinner, movie night, you name it, you're mine. And so I do that to release. But what's crazy is I try to get vacation homes wherever we go.
Really?
Because I still work. So even when we're on the West Coast, I'm up at 5 o'clock in the morning, our time, and I'm working. I'm on the phone, I'm on my computer, and that's really hard to do in a hotel room.
Yeah.
So I try to get vacation homes so there's like a living room or, and I can have my coffee and stuff like that.
The Airbnb.
So we're still,
yeah.
So we're still, I know you two would be the same way. You're still working even though you're
you never
you're
step
chilling
away
out.
100%.
But I would be a nutcase. Look how you guys were with me plugging in my phone. Somebody offered to take my phone to their desk. And I'm like, I can't be away from it.
Yeah.
I'm like that on my vacations too.
Yeah.
I can't be away from work. So that would be the big chill out. Second would be I have 2 dogs. One's a beagle and one's a mutt.
Dave.
And Dave.
Special
Dave.
Dave
is my friend's beagle, but I have Lucy, who's
that's like
his
your dog,
girlfriend.
I feel like.
I know. Dave stays with me a lot. But just going on hikes with them, I love. And then my circle, people on my island, like I said, meet me at 111 for a martini. It's those quick, hey, what are you doing? I'm coming home from an appointment. So am I. Okay, let's grab a drink and a bite. That's my chill out time too.
Yes.
Because I'm with like-minded people that understand the business.
It's fun. It's fun. Yeah.
So other than that, that's really it. I like Netflix shows to just escape to.
Mindless,
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Just kind of debrief a little bit.
Yeah, but that's about it for now.
So we're getting at the tail end here right now. I do want to hit on an important topic though, kind of before we end this, is where are we at right now in the real estate world? Like Northeast Ohio specifically, I mean, we're starting to see some inventory come back on the market, right? I mean, the NAR says that in a normal equilibrium market, we're at 6 months of inventory.
Right.
I think we're at like 1.5, 2 or something.
Yes.
From your perspective, do you foresee us getting back to that 6 months of reserves in the market, or is that not something that happens for a while? I mean, what are you seeing?
Yeah, I don't think that's something that's going to happen anytime soon. I think this low inventory is going to be with us for the next couple years. But the good news is I also think our low interest rates will also be with us for that same time frame. So I think it's still going to be a positive, next 3 to 5 years in the market, which is phenomenal, which is great for all of us. But as far as inventory goes, it's interesting now here in the fall. I've had a ton of listing appointments and people are on the fence of putting it on the market now or waiting until the spring. And it's the same old thing. If they put the house on the market now, they're going to be one of 2 houses in their neighborhood on the market. If they wait until the spring, they're going to be one of 5. But in reality, we need 10 houses in that neighborhood.
100%.
Because buyers are done. They're tired of renting. They're tired of living with their parents. They've done all the right things. They've saved money. They're ready to buy a house.
The millennial group is huge. It's the majority of buyers, especially moving forward. Now you get to a point where, you know, people have that savings now and everything to put down for a down payment and everything. It's weird now. You hear a lot of narratives. I'm sure you can attest to this. Is a weird narrative where everyone's like, I'm going to wait for home prices to settle back down.
Yep.
I'm going to wait till the housing crisis, the bubble bursts. And in my head, the only thing I can think of when people say that, they only really have two narratives to go off of is housing prices are expensive. It's expensive. It must go down. And the other one is, oh, well, things crashed back in 2008. It must happen again.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Different market than 2008. Way different market.
For sure.
And again, we're in a market right now where inventory is low. So, you know, just law of economics, right? Supply and demand.
Right.
We have a low amount of supply and high demand. It just bumps prices up. So do you think, just to, I guess, like reassure everyone who's listening, is there a housing crisis coming?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
And it's because of your industry. The reason why there's not a housing crisis coming. You did not give loans, since you've been doing
That's right.
loans, to people who shouldn't be buying homes.
Yeah.
So even those people that did the forbearance, most of them quickly have come out of it. You know, they're strong, credit-worthy buyers with great jobs. And I'm sorry, with the unemployment numbers that we have, there truly isn't any reason why someone should foreclose on their home.
Right.
Unless it's medical or something like that.
Right.
There's jobs out there for them
100%.
to work and pay their mortgage. So no, I think it's going to be a phenomenal time in the market, and the house values continue to increase. So when we talk to people about equity, I mean, come on, unless they're doing crazy appraisal gaps and all of that, which I don't recommend whatsoever, they're going to make some money on their house.
Oh, yeah.
If they, you know, hold on to it for a couple years.
As for the duplex I bought back in early 2020, bought at 160 FHA, 3.5 down at 150 on it. Probably would appraise at 200 right now.
Wow. Good for you.
Right.
There you go.
And it's
awesome.
like, you talk on a cash on cash return.
Huge.
But
I mean, look at any stock. I mean, you can look at Apple stock. There's big spikes in it sometimes, and then it does this here and there, and then it goes up, and then it goes down a little.
But with real estate, it's
how it
different.
is.
It's just
It is, but
you're
it's just the
talking
whole
about
flow
it
of things.
exactly. But in our industry, it's crazy. It's like it's going to continue to go up because, like we said, there's not going to be there's no bad loans being written right now.
That's the thing. And that's the only thing. I mean, what is what we're facing right now compared to 2008? 2008 was, we had a housing crisis because of the fact, and we talked about this a few weeks ago, because of the fact that there were loans in default out there. Now, are there now? Yes, 100%. We deal with people with foreclosures all the time in the past 5 years. But the only thing that we are working with right now is, what's the one unpredictable thing about our industry when somebody's going to list their home?
Yeah.
You can't deal. You know, how do you predict that?
Yeah.
You know, we qualify the absolute living hell out of these borrowers. You have to nowadays, right?
And there's a lot of fear of, I can't sell my house because I'm not going to be able to find my next house. And that's where excellent realtors and loan officers come into play, because it is possible to list your house and put all of the details out there for that buyer.
Yeah.
Right.
As much as you can tell that buyer and buyer's agent, you know, sellers have to need time to find home of choice. Once they find home of choice, they need 5 days post-possession to move. You know what I mean? Is communication is key.
Yes.
Communication is key. So if realtors just focus and answer their phone and learn as much of
Just
this
show up.
industry as they can, and definitely have a good relationship with the loan officer as well.
That's right.
Because that's awesome.
Yeah.
Jill, as we conclude here, first of all, tell the people who it is you work with and kind of promote yourself. Where can they find you?
Well, fabulous. Thank you very much.
Gotta plug that in
I
there
work
real quick.
with I've only done 3 brokerages in my 13 years, and I'm currently with HomeSmart. It will be my last one, hopefully. And phenomenal brokerage, and it gives me the flexibility to just do my business and just take care of my clients. And I am everywhere. JillReneeHill.com, Facebook, Instagram. All you have to do is Google my name and find all my information. And I serve all over Northeast Ohio. I serve, I would say, I'm trying to think Cleveland way. I do probably Orange over to Avon. And then I grew up in Wayne County. So I will go all the way to Worcester, and then into Summit County, I go as far as Greene. So it's a lot.
It is a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. A lot of mileage on my car.
You're the best, though.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Jill, thank you for coming out. We appreciate your
thank
time.
you.
We obviously know that your time is valuable, but again, like I said when we started this, you like coming to this place.
Oh my gosh,
love
Liberty
coming to this
Home
place.
Mortgage is the best company ever.
Yeah.
I just love to come in here and see all of your energy. Hesh has hired people that just, I don't know what he does with you guys in your interview process, but I think all of the best people in Northeast Ohio and in the United States are here in this company.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate
Appreciate it. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.